Vatican City is a city-state in Rome, Italy, and the home to Pope Francis and Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI. It is a true monument to the influence of Catholicism on architecture. In the Vatican, you'll come across the Vatican Museums, which shelters several ancient Roman sculptures, including Laocoon and his sons. Also on the Vatican City grounds is the Sistine Chapel. In the Sistine Chapel, you'll find Michelangelo's famous roof. The number of Vatican City residents is less than 1,000 and only covers 110 acres. But it also has a multi-million-dollar appropriation and an incredibly complex history. To understand how this all works, one must go through centuries of religious texts. The Vatican is said to have frightening authority and power. The inexplicable power of the Vatican city-state entirely explains how it has been able to get away with its terrible atrocities. The Vatican, the seat of the Roman Catholic Church, the world's largest religious institution, has always been the focus of concern, whether of its buildings adorned with Renaissance art or the absence of accountability for its unpaid taxes. The mysteries of the Vatican City are far darker than the tax alone. Here are 10 of the top secrets Vatican City does not want you to know. Number 1. The Secret Archive. The Secret Archives of the Vatican City is undoubtedly the most prominent location to dig up the Vatican City secrets. Because the name Secret Archive evokes a sense of mystery, various speculations regarding what may be housed within the 53 miles of shelves and 12 centuries worth of records that are only accessible to just a few people have naturally emerged. It will not take too much time to locate people who claim the Vatican archives possesses records of evidence of life on other planets, denial of Jesus' existence, or the true hidden name of God that has been passed down to succeeding popes since 463 AD. The archives, according to history, is not hidden in the context of being concealed from the public. The term secret, in this context, means something more private, as they legitimately store records and conversations relevant to the Pope. However, the archives are not open to the public. Only scholars who have passed a stringent screening procedure are allowed access, and reporters were not authorized to study the archive's contents until 2010. Also, even for this restricted audience, papers in the archive are only made accessible after 75 years. Because of this, numerous scandals linked to the Vatican City are being concealed from the public till today. Number 2. The Vatican's chief exorcist has performed over 100,000 exorcisms. Exorcism may be thought to be practiced only in horror novels or films, but this tradition lives on in the Catholic Church. Late Father Gabriele Amorth functioned as the Vatican's chief exorcist, and with over 60 years of practice conducted over 100,000 exorcisms. However, not only did the chief exorcist perform the exorcism rituals, it has been performed by several popes in the past years. In 2018, around 250 priests around the globe were sent invitations to participate in the annual Vatican School of Exorcism. Although the world has made progress in the fields of neuroscience and the science of the mind, the Catholic Church has not abandoned its practice of exorcism today. Even popes have partaken in the exorcism of people suspected of being possessed by demons. Exorcism is still widely practiced, and Pope Francis has urged people to see an exorcist if they are bothered by demons. Number 3. Tax evasion. The Vatican enjoys a property tax reduction for any non-commercial structures with chapels. Exploiting the loophole, the Vatican avoided paying €4 billion in taxes between 2006 and 2011. After the European Court of Justice ruled that it was illegal, the Vatican was obliged to pay €4 billion in back taxes. The €4 billion did not completely compensate for the total amount of tax the Vatican evaded. If you take into account the amount of taxes they dodged beginning in 1992, the sum is far higher than €13 billion. Number 4. The $5 million cover-up. The notion of stealing large amounts of dollars seems positively antiquated in comparison to accusations of supporting the Third Reich, financial crimes cash for organized criminal syndicates, illicit trading of gold to topple governments, and seemingly endless abuse scandals. However, in the 1970s, a controversy and resulting cover-up involving certain wasteful monks cost the Vatican City millions of dollars and its reputation. The Paulines, a Philadelphia-based monastic order, fundraised millions of dollars for religious endeavors such as mass celebrations, shrine construction, and cemetery restoration, but never carried them out. Instead, this money was spent on automobiles, televisions, stereos, and other luxuries that a group of men who had pledged poverty should not have. The Vicar General not only stole half the pay of friends he selected for monastic positions, but also used stolen donations to fund an extramarital affair. Despite receiving nearly $20 million in donations, the Paulines were still in default on more than $4 million in church bonds. The Pope and the Archbishop of Philadelphia intervened, providing the Paulines with more than $5 million to pacify their creditors and refund their illicit loans, which was the only way they could avoid litigation, bankruptcy, and sanctions. Number 5. The Vatican Bank Scandal. The Vatican Bank is also known as the Institute for Religious Works, IOR, and has been the subject of several scandals throughout the years. During World War II, the Vatican Bank was established to circumvent the Allies' limitations on financial operations. The most contentious scandal is its relationship with Adolf Hitler. The Vatican was believed to receive yearly church taxes from Hitler. The Vatican City is located in the heart of Rome. Rome, the main capital of Italy, is one of the three axes that fought against the Allies during World War II. Of course, the Allied governments wanted to prevent the money from reaching their enemies. It was also said that the Nazis had ties to the Vatican Bank. The Vatican Bank was soon recognized as the best offshore bank and exempted from any external liability. With this knowledge, the Nazis utilized the Vatican Bank to evade World Bank investigations. The Vatican Bank was employed as a decoy storage facility for a big sum of money, and the specifics have stayed hidden from the public eye. To date, Western banking institutions have been unable to track where the hefty sum of money sent to the Vatican Bank came from. A priest has also been charged with funneling millions of euros through the Vatican. Number 6. The Mafia Scandal. Do you believe the scenario in the Godfather movie depicting the killing of a pope as a result of a dubious arrangement between the Mafia and the Vatican City is based on a true story? In September 1978, on his 33rd day of service, Pope John Paul I was found murdered before daybreak. Although officials said he died of a heart attack, no autopsy was performed, and the Vatican certainly had ties to organized crime at the time. Of course, Father Paul Marcinkus, president of the Vatican Bank, resigned in 1982 when the bank's dealings with the Mafia were uncovered in a series of scandals. In the end, the bank had to repay its creditors over $200 million. But Father Marcinkus was suspected to be linked to many mysterious assassinations, including Pope John Paul's death. Even so, he was never convicted of a crime and easily obtained diplomatic immunity from the United States. Number 7. A home for heinous crimes. The Vatican is the smallest city in the world in terms of area and inhabitants, and is considered a holy place, but has the highest crime rate in the world. It has been declared the home of heinous sins and crimes. Crime in the Vatican is 20 times higher than crime in Italy. However, it is believed that tourists are more likely to be entangled in such crimes than popes and Swiss guards. The fact that the Vatican has just one court and no functional prison complicates matters. As a result of a bilateral agreement, the criminals get unceremoniously transported across the border into Italy. The Vatican issued its first drug sentence in 2007, following the finding of a few ounces of cocaine on a worker's desk. Number 8. The Apostolic Penitentiary. The penitentiary is a private court operating per the Roman Catholic legal system in Vatican City. The Apostolic Penitentiary, which is also known as the Court of Conscience, was founded in 1179 by Pope Alexander III. The purpose of the court was to keep secret the sins and crimes of the Roman Catholic rulers. The sins known here are not ordinary crimes, but dark and heinous crimes. Some sins are just too much for a local bishop to forgive. According to the Church, the priests can acquit sins as grave as murder, but 5 specific sins demand vindication from the penitentiary. This secret tribunal has held meetings occasionally for over 830 years, but in January 2009, the members held a press conference for the first time to examine their area of jurisdiction. The first 3 of the 5 sins they consider to need vindication from the penitentiary can only be committed by priests. For a priest's case to be brought in front of the penitentiary, he has to either breach his seal of confession or want to become a priest but has actively taken part in murder or other heinous crimes. The other 2 sins can be committed by anyone. The first is the desecration of the Lord's Supper, which is sacrilegious because Catholics believe that the bread and wine are a reminder of the body and blood of Christ. The last sin is a murder attempt on the Pope. These confessions are kept confidential and handled with seriousness. The Pope is the overseer of the Apostolic Penitentiary and is known as the Grand Penitentiary. He hears the confessions and then confesses to the Father Confessor. These hearings are held behind closed doors and their integrity is strictly respected. Number 9. The Vatican Leagues. In 2012, a book was issued based on Pope Benedict XVI's leaked secret document, His Holiness. Gianluigi Nuzzi, an Italian journalist, wrote the book and pointed out that Benedict XVI's private documents were given to Nuzzi by his butler. His Holiness divulged that the Holy See was the hotbed of dirty politics, jealousy, and betrayal. Vatican secrets became uncovered, and soon the scandal was officially recognized as the Vatican Leagues. It was believed that a private investigation was launched internally immediately after the Vatican Leagues were verified. After a series of seditious scandals, Pope Benedict XVI resigned from service. Number 10. Dead man in the courtroom. In AD 897, the Church sentenced an already dead man to trial. The retrospective trial of Pope Formosa, which is known as the Coverup Synod, was overseen by Pope Stephen VI, who then was his successor. The dead Pope Formosa was charged with the crime of forcefully taking control of the Vatican City. His body was ordered to be dug up from the grave, dressed in religious robes, and brought to the Apostolic Court for trial. An appointed deacon spoke on behalf of the late Pope. He was declared guilty of the charged crime and all his actions as Pope were declared invalid. The cadaver was stripped of all papal robes and was clothed in rags. His 3 blessed fingers were amputated and his corpse was thrown into the Tiber River, where notorious criminals were disposed of for centuries. And that brings us to the end of this video. Let us know in the comments section if one of these secrets surprised you the most. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the notification bell to get notified when we post a new video.